Republican leader of the state house, lifelong Republican Rusty Bowers, was censured yesterday by the Arizona Republican Party. Not because he committed any crime or did anything wrong by normal people standards, but because he refused to commit treason and refused to support violent sedition and a coup. And he refused to commit crimes against the Constitution. And that, my friends, was enough for Kari Lake, chairwoman of the Republican Party and person who seems like she often huffs paint, to go ahead and push for him to be censured. That's correct. She, Kari Lake, who's running for governor, is Trump supported and is the usual Arizona Republican lunatic as that party has become. She stood up and attacked Rusty Bowers and said, of course, that the election was stolen, it was rigged. Rusty Bowers, you may remember, sat before the January 6th committee and said how it was not rigged. It was a fair election. What 60-something different investigations have found in every organization that's looked into it, and Trump's former head of cybersecurity for elections said it was the safest election we'd had. We can go on and on. Anything that happened, there was voter suppression by Republicans. Sure, they won't look into that. There are a couple cases of people like Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia. His son illegally voted twice. I'm sure he'll pay no price for it. The few cases they've found have all been Republican. But they're minuscule. They're nothing. Infinitesimal, made no difference, those few cases, even of Republicans cheating. However, because Rusty Bowers, again, lifelong Republican, right-winger state house speaker in Arizona, will not repeat Donald Trump's rigged election lie, the lie that caused many people like the Camp Auschwitz guy and others to attack our Capitol on January 6th, to injure, to stab, kick, stomp, beat, in any other way injure over 140 members of the Capitol Police, led people to want to hang Mike Pence and search for members of Congress to murder. The craziness that inspired that likely inspired the planned kidnapping by these right-wing nuts of Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, so that she needs massive security. And numerous other attacks, the attack in Buffalo, where people were murdered just for the fact that their skin was black. It's these lies, it's this white replacement, it's this that Trump really won and the others stole the election from him that inspire, that disinformation inspires these attacks and leads people to be murdered. Now, of course, Wendy Rogers, another member in good stead who wasn't censured, state senator lunatic in the Arizona State Senate Republican, she said that the Buffalo attack was a false flag. We just made it up. She joined Nick Fuentes, the leader of the white supremacist, I think, Proud Boys. I get them all mixed up because their salutes are pretty much all the same and they all wear the same white robes. But they're the ones who came out and said that the Buffalo attack was just a false flag. It was just us trying to get sympathy for, I don't know, black people or Democrats or something. She hasn't been censured. Doug Ducey, who went against every recommendation from the CDC, their governor, and made sure that thousands of extra people died from COVID because he refused to have people masked, because he did everything he could. He wouldn't come out and strongly call on everybody to mask. He wouldn't try to pass forcefully mandates. He wouldn't call on getting the vaccination as soon as possible. He was busy kissing Trump's ring. Thousands of people died. Has he been censured? He has not been. Blake Masters, the other little puppet boy besides J.D. Vance, the little marionette for Peter Thiel, billionaire, James Bond villain weirdo, who spends his money on trying to figure out how to live forever, and I'm not kidding. This guy, Blake Masters in Arizona, has he been censured? He's good friends, good pals with Gab and the right-wing social media, one of the right-wing social media services. And the head of Gab has attacked the, quote, Judeo-Bolshevik government right now, which literally is the words that Hitler used to attack the Weimar Republic. It is right out of the anti-Semitism playbook. This guy's a massive anti-Semite, a massive racist, has called upon violence towards immigrants, and Blake Masters is his best buddy, refuses to reject his endorsement. Blake Masters also has repeated Donald Trump's election lies. Has he been censured? No. Kari Lake won't censure herself for all of her garbage lies. She won't censure Wendy Rogers for her garbage lies, or Blake Masters, or Doug Ducey. But the one guy, the one Republican who showed any honor at all, and still, by the way, most of his positions are awful on issues, but the one Republican who stepped forward and showed integrity and was willing to speak before the January 6th committee, was willing to reject the entreaties of Donald Trump. And I'm guessing, considering Ginny Thomas was calling all of the Arizona lawmakers who were Republican and get them to overthrow the election, probably Ginny Thomas too. It'd be nice if the January 6th committee would call her in front of it, by the way. I digress. This guy who actually stood up and did the right thing had a moment where at least he was like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and Mitt Romney and others whose politics we can still think is abhorrent, but at least at certain key moments stood up for the Republic. He's the one that their party chooses to censure. Because again, they are extremists. They are conspiracy addled. They're lunatics. They are people that can't be trusted with running, a McDonald's takeout, much less running our republic, being elected to positions like governor and senator, having to live in a reality of climate change causing heat waves in London and across this country, and a reality of gun violence epidemic, an epidemic everywhere that, by the way, almost ended up murdering Gabrielle Giffords, in a former congresswoman, when she was shot through the head by a loon assassin with disinformation and easy access to a gun. That was in Arizona. They've had other shootings there, obviously, too. Doesn't seem to change anything with these people. They just get crazier. Right now, folks, we need to elect sane Democratic people. We need to reject the insanity of these Republicans. And what they just did to Rusty Bowers is an insult to democracy.